What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back with the boxing clinic one time for the one time. First video on Facebook today. Dropped a few other videos, so go check out. Hit the link. Check out the other videos I dropped today. Subscribe as well. And I was rewatching Ward and Kovalev, and I haven't really watched the HBO telecast, in quite some time. And I didn't watch that fight on HBO. I tend to watch HBO fights and Showtime fights, on Box Nation or Sky. Really love Box Nation. Whole team. Think they're the best in the business, or one of the best. But I was just looking at, just overall thinking about how horrible, how terrible Harold Lederman is at scoring fights. I mean, this dude is one of the worst, he is the worst dude on boxing TV. I think he's even worse than Jim Lampley, because Jim Lampley doesn't have a boxing background, and there's no problem with that. But to people, I don't think don't understand Jim Lampley's role. It's really to kind of give a different point of view. He's really not a boxing expert. He's just a TV color analyst. He's supposed to bring some pizzazz to the telecast, and I think he aces his job to the T. He's just frowned upon because he's biased, and that's what HBO wants him to be biased. And to keep his checks rolling in, if he got to do that, I'm not mad at him. Even though he tends to piss me off from time to time, but you got to remember, he's just a figurehead for HBO. But for Harold Lederman, he has a large impact on what happens in a fight. And you will see, throughout the fights, some of the fights over the years, that Roy Jones or Max Kellerman or Andre Ward, whoever on there, they will check Harold Lederman for, shitty ass scorecards and sneak diss him, from time to time. And I remember on the Ward and Kovalev one, Max Kellerman, kind of said that Harold Lederman's cards are, really different than the judges' cards, are off from the judges' cards, and are a lot off, usually. And that's what he was saying, that he's never on par with the judges because he's a shitty judge. I mean, he's a shitty judge. He's the shittiest, judge on TV. He's the shittiest, personality on boxing TV, period. I don't know why they don't get rid of this guy, But then again, you could tell Jim Lampley shows bias. Then you could, from HBO, from upstairs, and Harold Lederman showing some bias from upstairs. He tends to score guys who are aggressive and come forward and punch. Even if they land or don't land, he's landed the harder punches. But you can look and say, oh, that punch landed hard, and if a guy react to it, but if a guy doesn't have a reaction, he still was a harder punch than what he was landing. So at the end of the day, he's not objective at all, but at the same time, he just all the times he scored for guys, just aggressive guys he scored for. One fight that stood out when I definitely started watching HBO was the Algieri and the Ruslan Provodnikov fight, where clearly, Algieri, got his legs back and started boxing the shit out of Provodnikov and making him miss and making him look like a novice down the stretch. This dude gave damn near every round to Provodnikov just because he was aggressive, and it wasn't effective aggressiveness though. You know what I mean? So he tends to get those dudes that's aggressive denied, but that doesn't mean you're controlling the fight though, just because you're coming forward. And in the Andre Ward Kovalev fight, he said, I just can't give Ward rounds, even rounds that Ward clearly won. He wasn't giving rounds because Ward was moving backwards. The name of the game is to hit and not get hit though. So, and he's scoring the fight based on all you gotta do is hit. I don't care if you get hit, as long as you land the harder punches. You feel me? And that's not that's not the name of the game. Ring generalship doesn't mean you just marching down the middle, taking punches and eating punches just to give and get your punches. That's not ring generalship. Ring generalship is controlling the pace, which Andre Ward and Chris Algieri did in their fights. Ring generalship is landing clean, effective punches. Not the harder punches, clean and effective punches. And body work does count, Harold Lederman. It fucking counts. He doesn't count body work, I can tell. Ring effectiveness, generalship is making the fight your pace, your style. Making them miss, countering them. Not just coming forward and taking punches like a punching bag like HBO wants you to see. And that's what Harold likes to score, He's a shitty guy. He's a shitty judge. I don't know about him personally, but shitty as fuck. You know what I mean? And he has a large impact on the audience because he uses the scorecard that they see that first, that they impact the fight. But then again, like I said, he's never on par with the judges unless it's a clear-cut victory. But it's your boy CJ Goodfella. We gone.